I personally think in every market, there's an opportunity. Either you take market share or someone takes yours. Last year was one of the most challenging years. The year before was really challenging too. But our production was up over 70% over 23 levels, and we had an all-time record in 2024.
Welcome to Powerhouse, where we interview the biggest names in housing and ask them about their strategy for growth. I'm Diego Sanchez, president of HousingWire. My guest today is Tom Davis, chief sales officer at Deephaven Mortgage and a true powerhouse. Tom, it's so great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, Diego. Excited to be here.
So for those that don't know you, could you briefly introduce yourself and Deephaven Mortgage?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the chief sales officer here at Deephaven. I'm responsible for all the sales initiatives, whether it's wholesale sales and non-delegated and delegated sales. So I run the sales team close to 70 sales folks across the United States, and also responsible for spearheading marketing initiatives and pushing on that front as well. I've been in mortgage pretty much right out of college. I've worked at some of the largest banks and some IMBs and some agency investors, mostly in my career on the B2B side, working with brokers and mortgage bankers. A little bit about Deephaven. Deephaven has been around since 2012, as Deephaven is known as a pioneer in the non-QM space. We were one of the first investors to the market, one of the first securitizers in the space, helped bring liquidity to the space, introduce products into the market. And so Deephaven today is one of the largest non-QM investors in the United States. And, we're very bullish about the space and looking to, for the space to continue to grow over the next 3 to 5 years. So I think the non-QM space is a high growth market, and Deephaven's well positioned, in this environment in 2025.
There are multi-product lenders, and then there are non-QM specialists like Deephaven.
Yep.
Why do you think brokers should work with a specialist instead of a multi-product lender?
Yeah, for me, it's like any other profession, whether you're a wealth advisor or you're an attorney, right? When you're working with a professional and you want expertise, you're going to want to work with someone who is the expert in your market. And so for Deephaven, we're known for our expertise, our knowledge, and focus. And so we're really focused on this space and helping our customers with their strategy, helping them with their LOs get adoption. We do a lot of training and education because LOs won't understand they won't feel comfortable selling the product if they're not educated on it, right? It's like any other profession. If a broker is working with an investor that happens to dabble in non-QM, then they're not going to get the expertise, the knowledge, and the focus, and all the best practices that we've been able to aggregate over the last 12 years and share with our partners on, just best practices on how to grow their business. So I would highly recommend that, if you're an originator today, that you work with an investor such as Deephaven that has the expertise, the knowledge, the focus, the track record, and has been in the space for a long period of time, because you're going to get the most upside working with an investor who's dialed in and focused in the non-QM space.
You mentioned about 70 account executives, sales professionals on your team. Is that team broken up by geography or by loan product? How do you break them up?
Yeah, so we have two sales teams. The wholesale sales team, we have 3 regions and an inside team. We have the West Coast region, Central region, and the East Coast region. We have an inside team, and those AEs work those markets and those regions. So, for example, I live in Florida. We have a group of AEs that work the Florida or Southeast market. On the correspondent side, we do have 2 regions, an East and a West Coast, and there's 4 AEs in each region there, and they work their regions like a traditional correspondent investor does. So very tactical, allows us to build relationships in those markets. And each market has a different need, right? Like Florida might be experiencing more non-warrantable condo, might be focus on non-warrantable condo. There might be more investors in certain states. So having AEs focus on markets allows them to really dial in the product with the client. And so that's the approach we take today.
We've kicked off 2025 with rates that haven't done much except go a little bit higher, actually.
Yep.
I think a lot of folks were expecting a decline in 25. Is a higher for even longer rates environment a good environment for a non-QM specialist like Deephaven?
Yeah. I personally think in every market, there's an opportunity. Either you take market share or someone takes yours, is what it comes down to, right? Last year was one of the most challenging years. The year before was really challenging too. But our production was up over 70% over 23 levels, and we had an all-time record in 2024. And so we're forecasting our growth into 2025 to about a 20 to 25% increase over the 24 levels. And so we've built a plan. We're maniacally focused on that plan. We're looking at product expansions and bringing out or introducing products that we have or through our sister company, Anchor Home Loans, which is specializes in RTL, which is residential transition loans. And you got to understand the market and then go after that business. So, for example, new construction last year was 30% of purchase transactions were new construction. So if you're a loan officer, you should have a construction product. You should have a construction product that focuses on builders and developers and realtors. If you're 25 to 28% was the range for investor loans. So if you're a loan officer, you should have a full product offering of investor loans, right? Not just the agency, but having a DSCR option. There's over 19 million self-employed people in the United States that account for over 30 million businesses. You have a lot of high net worth, high income borrowers in the United States. Equity is at an all-time high, over 30 plus trillion. You have credit card debt at 1.6 trillion, auto loans at 1.1 trillion. The average age of a home in the United States is over 40 years. And we have a seller strike with these lower rates. People are not moving out of their homes, so existing inventory is not coming to the market. You have a supply-demand imbalance of about 5 to 7 million homes in the United States because we've had this migration, and home builders haven't been able to keep up with the population growth. So understanding all those trends, right, and focusing on areas such as construction, non-QM, the fix and flip and bridge, focusing on second lien production. Those are all areas, if you look at just the growth over the last year, where they've experienced a lot of growth, and going into 2025, that's where the growth is at. Non-QM this year or last year finished around 70 billion. We expect it to, and forecasters out there and industry experts are calling for an 80 to 100 billion dollar market. Second liens is really gonna, take off, I think, in a big way, whether it's a HELOC and standalones. That once again, renovation, people need to renovate their homes because they're not going to be moving out. More than 50% of second liens are actually renovation loans today. People tapping into their equity. And the biggest issue is the supply-demand imbalance of housing. There's 5 to 7 million undersupply. And if LOs want to be part of the solution and help builders bring inventory into the market or bring existing properties that are uninhabitable back into the market through rehab, the folks who offer those products and become market experts and become masters of the trade of non-QM, residential transition loans, and second liens, they're going to have a leg up on all the other originators in the market. It's going to allow them to differentiate themselves. It's going to allow them to tap into the realtors that have these products. So we're teaching our originators, this is where you need to focus. This is where you should be targeting. These are the referral sources that you need to tap into. look, the top 5% of realtors in the United States, the top 5% of realtors control like 90% of the listings. So we're teaching originators, if you want to go after the people who are moving weight in real estate and moving, have the highest listings, you should use these products and become an expert and tap into those, because they're the ones that are moving the properties out there, right? If they focus on the bottom 95%, only have 10% of the listings, then that's why they're not driving new originations or higher volume levels, because they're focusing on the wrong set of people. They need to focus on the top 5% to have 90% of the listings. So we're teaching folks how to use these products to tap into those realtor relationships, and outside of the realtor relationships, all these other referral sources that you could use that really help you tap into, the non-QM borrower.
I love that focus on, hey, I'm going to grab market share, even if the market is struggling overall. Several of your competitors have very publicly struggled over the past few years. While you said it, Deephaven seems to be leaning in and grabbing market share. What do you think is the secret of that success over the past year or so?
Yeah, I think obviously we've been doing it from day one, right? And so we have the expertise, we have the focus, the knowledge, we have the right leadership at the highest levels and, within the organization. This is all we do, so we have to be good at it. And so I think one thing that really sets us apart is we probably do more webinars and training and education with our clients than anybody else in the industry, even outside of non-QM, right? We probably have about 15 types of webinars for our clients, and a lot of times we'll present on behalf of our partners to their referral sources. So we'll do white label presentation to realtors, to attorneys, to accountants, CPAs. And so we take a really hands-on approach. We teach our clients on, the products, deep dive in the products, how to leverage the products, how to source these type of loans. And so that, by spending time and educating our clients and being on their calendar and just like anything else, if you want to be a professional baseball player, a professional golfer, or a highly successful executive, the pros, they train all the time, right? And so we spend a lot of time with our clients educating and training them. That's one thing we do as good, if not better, than anybody else in the industry. And then outside of that, I think just the way we're structured with our parent being in the resi as a resi asset manager, our sister company is a servicer, and then another sister company is a major residential transition loan, or RTL, which is your fix and flip, bridge, and construction. So everything is done in-house. We're not using third parties for any of this. And so, being able to work with our clients and not just offer non-QM, but offer these other products in a seamless fashion, I think gives us a competitive advantage in the marketplace.
And does that sister company, the servicer, service all of the mortgages that Deephaven originates?
Yeah,
or not necessarily. Okay.
Yeah, the vast majority of the loans that are that Deephaven buys are serviced by our sister company.
Yeah, that's interesting. And so you mentioned different areas of opportunity moving forward. One of them is in the home equity area.
Yep.
And so I noticed that Deephaven recently launched a new closed-end second-lien product, and you introduced your first HELOC product. Why the push into home equity?
Yeah, look, we see it as a huge opportunity, and super bullish. If you look at, rates are going to remain higher for longer. That's the play, right? Once again, credit card debt's at an all-time high at 1.6 trillion, auto loans at 1.1. These higher rates and higher just inflation, has driven the cost of living higher. So people are going to have to tap into their equity to renovate their homes and also to consolidate debt and improve cash flow. So if you just look over, year over year, the growth in the second lien market, it reminds me of going back like 5 years in the non-QM space. And I just know it's going to grow. You feel it, right? And talking to our clients, So there's a ton of need there. We're seeing our production grow in a material way. It's a sizable part of our budget going into next year. So we're all in the second lien space. We have some enhancements coming out here in the next week or so. Super excited that are really going to help us become, really a market leader in that product on the close end side. So stay tuned for that. But the entire sales team is focused on that, and we're spending a lot of time with our clients on, that their home equity or second lien strategy going into 2025, what that looks like, and then spending time with them, building out their strategy and helping them, and their loan officers, train them so they adopt that product. And with rates where they're at, right, I don't see refi cash outs coming. So it's kind of like a Band-Aid loan, right? You do this loan, and then the next loan, you'll get the next loan. If rates do come down, then you could refi cash out and pay off that second lien, but it just doesn't make economic sense to refi cash out and take $50,000 out if you have a $500,000 or $400,000 mortgage at 4 or 3%. It doesn't make sense. Economically, it doesn't make sense. So anyways, yeah, so we're really bullish there, and that's going to be an area we're going to really dial in and focus on in 2025. And so we're super bullish about that space.
Any other product area that you're really bullish about as you think about how am I going to grab even more market share in 25?
Yeah. So like I said, investors are 25 to 28%. That's, I think, per CoreLogic. Some states were as high as 30%. New construction has been 33% of all purchase transactions, right? So if you look at what happened back in 2020 or 2023 or Q1 with the regional bank failures, right? Those are regional bank scare. That kind of changed how home builder finance is being done. And so construction financing for these middle tier builders or regional builders, maybe they build 5 or 100 homes a year in their region. Financing for those builders has become a little, less liquid or choppy compared to the mega builders, right? The largest 20 home builders in the United States count, they are probably pushing out maybe 30% of the units. The largest home builder in the United States, I think last year, built 66,000 homes. If they even increase if they increase their output by 10%, that's only like 6,000 homes. So right. We have a 5 to 7 million undersupply, and we've had this migration. So there's just long-term demand there. And so the big builders could get financing, easy for them to get street financing. The mid-tier guys are the ones who need the financing. And as a loan officer, if you could work with builders, developers in your market and help them get financing to build, a project, or let's say if the builder is experienced and the builder wants to build 20 homes, our product will allow that builder to build up to a $10 million project, and they can have multiple $10 million projects. So for example, if the builder wants to build a $500,000 home, they could build 20, if they're experienced, they could build 20, 30, $500,000 kind of homes. So now that loan officer is picking up, maybe, they're further upstream. They're working with the builder. Now, once the builder, is getting the construction financing, once that home is done, then either the builder or the developer, real estate investor, either sells the property or they keep the property and they rent it, right? Because that's a big play too, or rentals, or they do a bridge loan. And then, there's multiple opportunities for, if you go further upstream, now you're going to have, potentially 2 loans. And if they do let's say they do sell the property, then potentially they could be the takeout originator for the consumer if the consumer is buying it. So, and when you're working with investors, I was just at an investor show yesterday. There's another one tomorrow down in Miami Beach. But investors, if I would highly recommend all originators today to look at how much investor transactions they did last year. It was part of their pipeline. If it's less than 25%, then you're under indexing the market. And I've been on calls with large, IMBs, and I've asked them what percentage of your production is investor, and they're like, they didn't know. Some didn't know, and you get answers like 8-9%. We don't really do that much, so they're really under indexing the market. But if you're not at 25%, then I would highly recommend working with the real estate investor clubs in your market. Get to know the realtors who focus on investors and offer these products. And then, because the real estate investors, they don't have one loan a year. They have like 5 to 10. Some of them have 50 loans a year. Versus a consumer, if they buy a house, you might only get another loan maybe 3 years or 5 years down the road. The investor, if you work with an investor and you have all these products and you're an expert and they trust you and you do a good job for them, they'll start sending you a lot of business, and they hang out with other investors and they tell their friends. Now you're getting 5 to 10 loans from the same investor on an annual basis. And that's how you really, grow your production. So that's what we've seen. We're teaching our clients and our partners, like, hey, this is where you should be focusing on, and we're guiding them. And then, and so that's been part of our success. And it's an entrepreneurial approach as a loan officer. And once again, there's opportunity in every market. Either you take it or someone takes yours. And, I don't know about you, Diego, but I don't like when anybody takes anything from me.
Nope. Agree completely. And then I love that approach. And when the LO starts to get in good with the investor community in their local area, they can come back to you and, back to the education piece. They can get educated on those products and make sure that they're putting out the best offering that they can.
And if you think about it too, another place to start educating your partners, the realtors are self-employed. Those are non-QM loans. But how many realtors in the United States own investment properties?
Right.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
I presented to like 2,000 realtors. They're the top realtors in the United States. A lot of them did, like the vast majority of the group did not even know what a non-QM loan was or a DSCR loan. And then we started explaining it and asked the group who thinks that they could use this to buy an investment property or cash out to go buy more investment properties. Everyone put up their hands. So a lot of the education, that because we do a lot of investor loans for realtors who have properties that want to buy more properties. And so, that's another thing. If you don't feel comfortable investing or presenting in front of realtors on this product, we can present with you. We could do it in person, or we could also do it, via webinar. We'll give you our presentation deck. You can put your name and logo, and we're your trainer. They never know it's Deephaven. They think it's, HousingWire Mortgage, and Tom Davis is Diego's trainer. And so we do a lot of hands-on approach, when it comes to helping our customers drive their business. And then once I do that presentation and you have 20, 30 realtors, I promise you, you're going to get 2 or 3. They're going to call you and say, hey, I have a property. I'd like to use this product for my personal property. So now you're not just saying, now you're providing a solution to the realtor. You're not calling the realtor like everyone else in the country saying, I have the best rate, I have great service, I pick up the phone. That's everyone's pitch. So how do you provide value to the realtor, and how do you help them put more people in the homes? That's the approach, that we share with our partners and have them start thinking about that.
Tom, I feel like we've unlocked some serious opportunity and market share growth opportunity in this conversation. What's the best way for somebody to get in touch with you and learn more about these opportunities? Yeah.
You can go to deephavenmortgage.com, or you could reach out to me directly at tdavis, DAVIS, at deephavenmortgage.com. Or you can connect with me on LinkedIn as well. So I have a non-QM group there, and Deephaven's one of the largest or followed non-QM investors in our space, if not the most followers.
You have some followers yourself.
A couple.
Well, Tom, it was so great to catch up with you today. Thank you so much for joining me on Powerhouse.
Thanks, Diego. I appreciate it. Happy New Year, and hopefully we can do this again. I appreciate the time today.